Misfits. We are here doing the review of Monday Night Raw that was taking place in Chicago, which is always a fun place to go to because the crowd will tell you
Always
how
a
it
lively
is.
crowd.
Oh yeah, they'll tell you how it is. They kind of remind me of a New York crowd.
Yeah, I like Chicago crowds. It usually makes episodes of Raw or SmackDown or any type of wrestling more fun.
Remember what I told you at the beginning of the show? I was telling you, let me keep a counter of how many times CM Punk chants come out. They came out. They came out pretty good during the show.
I honestly expected more, but what do you think was the big point of this Raw? I mean, I thought overall this was a kind of boring Raw 3 hours. Just again, too much, and there's not enough really going on to, I think at least, keep me occupied for 3 hours.
I feel like this Raw was a little bit better than the last couple of weeks that we've had, but I'm not saying that it was a really good Raw. It wasn't that bad. I thought it could be better for a post pay-per-view match or pay-per-view show, and but there was some good points on there. It's talking about the Undertaker being at the end of the show with Braun Strowman. I mean, Roman Reigns' music hit for a short period, and then all of a sudden Undertaker's music hit.
Well, the whole show, I mean, the beginning of the show, because of the pay-per-view last night, was that Braun was going to call out Roman Reigns. So in the main event, he calls out Roman Reigns, but right away, Taker comes out, and I was really hoping this was going to lead to Braun Taker. I thought that Vince and WWE were going to listen and be like, you know what? Let's just embrace Braun. Let's stop fighting the crowd with Roman. Let's at least, give the crowd something they'll actually want for Mania. But instead, Braun backs out of the ring like a coward, which I kind of like because even though Braun's a monster, it looked at least he was like, you know what? I don't want any Taker. I want competition, but I don't need any Taker type competition. And then I thought the episode was going to end, and I was going to be happy because, again, maybe I thought it'd be Braun Taker. But then Roman Reigns came out, and it looks like they're going to build the whole WrestleMania match around whose yard is it? Who's the biggest dog?
Yeah, Roman Reigns came out, and then Undertaker was already in the ring, and as you said, Braun Strowman left because of who wants to fuck with Undertaker, basically.
I don't.
Yeah, I don't. But even at his age right now, I mean, I don't. But Roman Reigns comes out, and then he says that Braun Strowman was the one that called him out. You look like he was kind of offended. It's like, come on, you gotta calm down. I mean, Undertaker came out there.
Man, he's being disrespectful to Taker. I don't get how Roman's a face. How's he a good guy?
Yeah, that's just the way I look at it, is that Roman Reigns looks at him right in the eyes and says, it's not your yard anymore. It's my yard now. It's like,
I hate it. I absolutely hate it.
I don't know. Just seeing Undertaker's career and everything, he might be older now, yes, and he's probably not as fast and whatnot, but you're gonna tell the last guy out of the old generation who's still going at it that it's not his anymore, it's Roman Reigns. I get that they're trying to pass the thing on to Roman Reigns, but why you gotta be so disrespectful, like saying that it's mine now,
WWE doesn't know how to build a good face, at least not with Roman. But I guess now we know some Mania plans, which will probably be Taker versus Roman. And we also touched on one of the other big stories that at WrestleMania, it's going to be Goldberg defending his Universal Championship against Brock Lesnar.
You know what? I'm okay with this match. It's for the Universal Championship, and I don't know if it's gonna be another where Goldberg, goes through Brock Lesnar again, but it was kind of good to just to see Brock Lesnar F5 Goldberg right in the middle of the ring, just because it seems like that Brock Lesnar's character in the last couple months is just trying to figure out what to do, and everything. And I think that with Paul Heyman being in there to distract him, calling him Brock Lesnar's bitch, basically, and then catching
No,
Goldberg off guard.
He straight up calls him that. But I'm still looking forward to the match. I do not want to see Goldberg squash Lesnar. Not at Mania. Goldberg, if he's going to have a title, he's going to have a title run. He needs to have longer matches. They can't just keep feeding him people when the guy's old, however old he actually is. But it's kind of ridiculous. And the Chicago crowd kind of booed him tonight. And I'm wondering, do you think that's just because Chicago, or do you think that the WWE universe, or maybe the type that pay to go to Raw and pay-per-views, don't want to see this, and they might be more vocal about it?
I think it's a little bit of both. What do you call it? What's it called? The Chicago crowd can be vocal about how they feel, and I think they reflect on how people feel, like the fans feel overall. And I think that they kind of showed that with how they reacted to Goldberg being out there. And there was some Goldberg had some cheers, but you could clearly hear some boos out in the crowd.
So, I mean, you're looking forward to this at Mania?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, but I hope it's different than what they did at Survivor Series.
I hope so. But the other match we got tonight for WrestleMania is Chris Jericho is going to be taking on Kevin Owens.
Yeah, and you said yesterday that it was going to be a rematch between Owens and Goldberg, but Owens is focusing more on what Chris Jericho did to him, and he confirmed that he does have a rematch clause going on anytime he wants. So he's just going to put that on the back burner for right now and focus on Chris Jericho.
I hate that as a reasoning, but at least they gave a reason that, like you said, Kevin Owens says, I have a guaranteed rematch. I can put this on the back burner for now. I want Jericho first. So at least they acknowledge that in the storyline. And I know I'm down about it now. I'm sure as we get towards Mania, this match will win me back because it's been built for a long time. These guys have history, and I'm sure the video packages are going to be amazing. The promos leading up to it will be amazing. But right now, I don't know, just down on it. Just down on the Raw side of Mania right now.
I think Owens and Jericho, they can have a very good match with each other. They're both such good workers. They're both good wrestlers. My question about it is that they put Samoa Joe versus Chris Jericho, and then they had Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn. And Sami Zayn had a match with Samoa Joe yesterday, and it seemed like he got beat easy. And I told you this today after Kevin Owens got the win over Sami Zayn. It looked like Kevin Owens looked like he was like 10 times the wrestler that Sami Zayn was tonight. It just seems like Sami Zayn is like half wrestler, half you're gonna have a good match, and half jobber.
Well, I think that's what he is. He connects with the audience. People like him, and he's a credible challenger, but he's an underdog, and now he just loses. So I don't really get, just because you like a guy, how much sympathy can you have for him if he's just out of his league? Not that he doesn't necessarily need to be in WWE, but stop competing with the top guys. You're not at that level.
All right, and then the match that you said that was a highlight for you was the Rich Swann match. And
yes, Rich Swann took on Neville. Neville defended his Cruiserweight Championship just one night after defending it a pretty good match with Jack Gallagher. So this one I liked. I like Rich Swann's entrance. I've always liked the character. I saw him live on the Indies a few times. So I'm happy he made it to the WWE, and he's made it to the Cruiserweights, and he's one of the top 4 guys in the Cruiserweight division. And this match was pretty good, and it put him over. I mean, he lost to Neville because Neville's the king of the Cruiserweights, but Rich Swann always gives a good performance, and he's a believable opponent, the crowd was with him. Even in the intro, you saw a whole bunch of kids dancing along. And, the past few weeks, people seem to not care about the cruiserweight matches. They see it as a piss break or, go do whatever, but I don't need to watch this. But I think the crowd was very active for this match, and I think it also has to do with the Chicago crowd. They're educated. They watched the pay-per-view last night, which was, again, a very good match, and they knew they were going to get a good match with this, which they did, and for me, this was the highlight of Raw. Everything else, I guess because Raw is so character-driven and I'm not invested in the Raw characters, it doesn't grab my attention, but this is good in-ring storytelling with good developed characters, and like something small that I wanted to point out earlier, but I didn't when we were talking about it, was that I love the way that these guys sold, and like they would collapse when they got kicked in the head or hit really hard in the head. These guys, their bodies collapsed, and it's just, to me, it looked visually like these guys were just beating each other, and that happened last night too. But I feel like maybe the cruiserweight style is also maybe developing some of that Japanese strong style, the spirit style. And to me, it's clearly the most interesting part of Raw.
No, I agree. Remember, I texted you about it, and I said that this is they're doing moves that cruiserweight should be doing. It's not the regular moves where they're flying around, jumping off everything, going all over the place. But these guys were doing Michinoku drivers and whatnot in the middle of the ring. It's like I haven't even seen that move for a long while by anybody.
I love that these moves were being called by their proper names and not just like, what a maneuver.
Look at that! Look at what a maneuver, like Michael Cole, and then you have to have Corey Graves like calling him an idiot, and telling him what the real name is. But I agree. This match was pretty good, and even I was impressed with the Gallagher and Neville match last night. So I think they had two good matches back to back both nights. But overall, I think the rest of the show kind of just lacked in a post pay-per-view show. And I think it could have been better. I really do think it could have been better. But it's Raw. It's 3 hours. They have to do a lot of other fillers and whatnot. But I just feel like that, in my opinion, just the way it is, you got the authority figures with Mick Foley and Stephanie McMahon. And I feel like Stephanie McMahon just likes to just throw herself out there and just wants to run the show. It's like, why do we have to have a general manager? She's running the whole show anyways. Mick Foley's just there to be a yes man, even though it frustrates him. And I feel like that they're pushing that authority back on the main, they call it the main show, but I just feel like that it's a lot different of how authority figures are being pursued on Raw than on SmackDown. Daniel Bryan books some pretty good matches, and he just lets them wrestle. And I feel like that tonight, it's like, yeah, you had an unfair advantage last week, but the bad guy didn't, have a fair shot, so I get to favor him. It's like, okay. It's just one of those things that we've seen it over the years already. We've seen it with Vince McMahon. We've seen it with the authority of Triple H and Stephanie McMahon. We've seen it again with just Stephanie McMahon herself, and it's just the same old thing on Raw again, where it feels like that the whole authority figure role between Shane McMahon and Daniel Bryan is a lot different on SmackDown.
I think for the past 20 years in WWE and mostly on Raw, it's always been this heel authority versus the fans. And I don't understand the business reason why you would have the company be represented by bad guys, because if anyone were to take this serious, why would you support a company with your money, with your time, when they do everything they can to push superstars you don't like, to screw over the people you don't like, to push their agenda? And even within Raw, it bugs me that, again, the women's storyline on Raw is that Bayley won her championship through shenanigans, and that's not the right thing to do, so she should give it up. But last night, Goldberg won his title through shenanigans because of Chris Jericho distracting Kevin Owens, and that doesn't matter. And I hate inconsistencies like that, but that's what you got to do if you're going to push this heel GM. I hate it. at least SmackDown, because I think it's more out of Vince's touch, because it's out of his peripheral, because he cares about other things. You get a face GM face structure where on SmackDown, the authority figures are doing their best to entertain you, to give you what you want, and heels do not get rewarded for cheating, especially if they're caught, because that's not what you should do. Title shots, everything, all your opportunities are earned, not stolen. But that's just a big flaw that WWE has. And again, I think Raw is too long with 3 hours. They fill it too much with filler, obviously. And SmackDown's better because in 2 hours they tell stories.
Well,
And
how do you feel about this? The last few weeks, ever since like even before Elimination Chamber, SmackDown, their main event, if not towards like any type of like the championship, the WWE championship, they evolve a lot of their main events around that WWE championship. It doesn't have to be the champion in the match, but they go, all right, number one contendership and something else towards the championships, another match towards the champions. They're evolving their main events, their show, the top guys around the WWE championship. On Raw, they have different types of main events. First, it's like it'll be Braun Strowman and Big Show, and then all of a sudden it's like Roman Reigns and whoever else, and then it's like Kevin Owens and then somebody else, and it's just like I feel like they're just putting out like, all right, so these two are very hot this week. Let's just put them in the main event, and they're not evolving around the Universal Championship a lot. And
no, because that's not Raw's goal. Raw's goal is to give you acts that you want to see, and those acts can be from 20 years ago or new guys that we're building. But it's not about the championship on Raw. It's about trying to get other things over and not relying on a belt. Whereas SmackDown is built more like pro wrestling, where the title, the championship of this brand, is the most important thing, and every person who's going for it, that's their main goal. When AJ had it, he defended it. He was the face that ran the place. He was proud. When Cena had it, he was proud to be the champion. Bray Wyatt's got it now, and he seems proud, but now, Orton's back in the picture, but Orton earned it. And, it's two different shows, two different mentalities. Again, I like SmackDown so much more. I'm looking forward to tomorrow night's SmackDown more than I did tonight's Raw, and I don't think Raw really paid off. I don't think it was worth the 3 hours of our time. And I think, I'm just hoping next week will be better.
Yeah, I agree with everything that you said. I mean, I don't really say that a lot, but everything that you said is I agree with what you said about how Raw's show and how it's compared to SmackDown. They're two different shows and whatnot, but we'll get to SmackDown tomorrow. But if you guys like what you heard about the review of Monday Night Raw, let us know in the comments, and make sure you give a like to the video as well, and make sure if you like what was in the video as well, you subscribe to hear more about Raw, SmackDown, gaming videos, or even pay-per-view reviews, even movie reviews that we do. So we'll see you guys next time.
Later, Misfits.